Breaking news right now. A court has reportedly granted an interdict to stop the ANC's KZN provincial elective conference that was due to begin in a few moments in Mpangeni. This comes after the Moses Mabhida region, that is in Pietermaritzburg, led submissions to halt the conference. Over 600 ANC delegates were expected to converge at the University of Zululand at the weekend for the party's 8th provincial elective conference. The party was expected to elect its new leaders following the suspension of the provincial executive committee amid infighting allegations and court battles that marred the province since the 2015 elective conference. Our reporter Patty Samfuyo is now at the University of Zululand and joins us live. Patisa, thank you so much for joining us now. Can you confirm that a court has indeed halted proceedings at the elective conference at this hour?
Well, indeed, it has, and the matter has been put to rest until the 7th of July. So the Pietermaritzburg court has granted the interdict by members from the Moses Mabhida region to stop this elective conference. As you can see, I'm not sure if I'll ask Ulungelo to do a quick pen, where you can see the hall is ready. Delegates are still registering at Ingwelezane, but you can see the hall is empty. The mood is a bit somber at the moment because people, they've just had this breaking news that the conference is no longer happening. So what will happen next? At the moment, we still don't know. We have to wait for the ANC leadership, the provincial task team, to give us direction as to what will happen next. At the moment, we haven't seen any of them here. We know that the chairperson of the ANC, Gwedemandashe, is at Engwelezane, where registration is taking place. So none of the leadership is here to just give us clarity as to what will happen now. But now I'm joined by political analyst Zakelo Ndlovu. Zakelo, thank you so much for joining us. We came here, we were ready for the conference, and now the interdict has been granted. It's not happening anymore. This talks into the divisions within the ANC. Are we ever going to see unity, or what does this mean?
You know, let me begin by saying that it seems to me that, or at least the idea that is given people out there, is that the organization has not learned from its mistakes. This is not the first time this has happened. So I think that the leadership of the organization needs to sit down and try to get their act together. I don't think that it helps the ANC to have these factions or factionalism not being managed in a way that makes the ANC one organization. Right now, the impression that we are getting is that there are different ANCs. Listening to some of the people at Ingwelezane Accreditation Center, you know, one got the sense that there are different ANCs. So I think that what's important now going forward is for the leadership of the ANC to sit down and try to find some kind of common ground and make sure that the next date that is set for the conference, we are not going to see a repeat of what we saw this evening.
But now, Zakelo, we know that when the ANC Secretary General had that post-NEC briefing, he said that that has been done. There are members of the NEC and NWC that were sent to KwaZulu-Natal to resolve these issues. We know that there are 3 regions, Herikwala, Moses Mabhida, and Lower South Coast, that didn't convene their regional conferences. So all of this, it's nothing new. It's been known all this time, and yet the conference was given a go-ahead to happen.
Yeah, and you know, the third part is looking at all the money that has been spent on this, the bookings of hotels, lodges, and so on, the booking of this venue. So it's really sad, and I think that, like I said before, the leadership of the organization needs to really do some serious introspection. You know, one of the things that this province is known for, which is not a good thing, are the political killings. And when things like this continue, where the message is sent out there that there is no unity, then chances are we're going to see these things continuing, where people are being assassinated, where some people are not even on speaking terms in the same organization. So I think, you know, the ANC as an organization, this is the oldest movement, the oldest liberation movement. The fact that the ANC is over 100 years old means that the previous leaders of the organization made sure that there was unity in the organization, that even though there were tensions, but they were managed in such a way that an outsider couldn't see that there were some serious differences, because, differences have always been there, but they've been managed. But this time around, it seems like the organization has not done a pretty good job in terms of making sure that an outsider doesn't see that there are problems in the organizations, that there are differences. It's like in families, there will always be family politics, but you don't want to let an outsider say that there are serious problems in the organization.
Zakhele, just earlier I was speaking to Lawrence Dube, who took the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal and National to court and won. He actually did say that this conference might not happen, because now there are a lot of Lawrence Dube out there saying that this unilateral unity that the ANC is trying to enforce is not possible. But now we seem to be going back and forth to court within here in KwaZulu-Natal. We have 2019 coming up just in less than a year. What does this mean for KwaZulu-Natal, bearing in mind that KwaZulu-Natal has 40% of the national electorate? Do you think that the ANC might be in trouble next year?
Well, look, if they don't sort this thing out before the end of this year, then there's going to be serious trouble in 2019. If you look, like I said, if you look at the ANC, it has always had leaders who had a way of making sure that the organization is managed in a progressive manner. But right now, I think also, when we talk about the ANC, we must remember one thing. The ANC before 1994 and the ANC post-1994, those are two different organizations, because the ANC before 1994 was a liberation movement, strictly a liberation movement. But post-1994, it's the ruling party. And because it's the ruling party, a lot of people have joined the ANC because they want to have access to the resources. And I think that's where, I think that's part of the problem, is that you have many people who have joined the ANC with different agendas, not really wanting to see the organization grow, wanting to see the organization, maintain this, image of an organization where there's some sort of internal democracy. But, if the fact that the organization, the conference cannot even sit, I think it's an indictment on the whole leadership of the organization. And I think that going forward, to answer your question, 2019, is less than a year away. So, ANC, if it really wants to retain power in KZN, and also if they want to see the ANC retaining power at the national level, then it's going to be very important that they get their act together.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. That was Zakhele Ndlovu, political analyst, just unpacking what has happened today. As we know that the conference, which is supposed to be sitting here where we're standing at UniZulu, will no longer be happening as per the court interdict in Pietermaritzburg until the 7th of July, where the matter will go back to court again. So at the moment, we wait for the ANC to give us a briefing. I'm sure by tonight there will be some direction as to what they will be doing as the provincial task team, as we wait for that confirmation from them as to what is the way forward. And hopefully the national leadership that is here will also give some direction.
All right, thank you so much. That was Patti Safuyo, our reporter on the ground in Durban, where the ANC KZN Provincial Elective Conference has just been cancelled at the 11th hour. We will be touching base with her later on this evening.